What's going on YouTube? It is your boy Trev. It is late night with DJ Trev. So I'm going to talk a little soft, and I hope that the microphone is picking it up. Earlier today, we were in a space, a Trader Rocco space. Rocco does these spaces every week, tries to do them every week. And if you haven't been in one, look for it and make sure that you're in the next one, or at least listen to the replay, because these spaces are great. He's really good at hosting them. Knowledgeable guy, good at keeping the conversation moving, good at calling people up and having them have their turn at talking, whatever. A lot of information, because a lot of kind of bigger names in the community jump into these spaces. He's kind of famous for doing them. He stopped for a while, now he's doing them again, which is a great thing for the whole community. It seems to always be some alpha that's dropped, even when he wasn't expecting it in these spaces. So they're really good to try to get into if you can. So I recommend that. But today, the hot topic was KYC. Some other things were talked about, but the first thing that we talked about was KYC. And I made a video earlier before this space about KYC and about my indecision regarding it. And I kind of try to argue it from both sides and gave some points about the way people on each side look at it, and explained why it kind of perplexes me as to which way is the right way to go. But I have some more thoughts. I think my thoughts might be a little clearer now, even though it might be a little too late, and I'll explain that too. But before I get into that, do me a favor, hit the like button if you haven't already done that. It's very important. And at the end of this, I really want you to leave comments here in the comment section, not on Twitter. I mean, you can talk to me on Twitter too, but leave comments here in the comment section, because those are the things that kind of work for the channel, and they just really help me out. Okay, so anyway, we're in the middle of this conversation about KYC, and everyone is giving their very intelligent opinions on whether KYC is good, whether KYC is bad, whether it helps, whether it doesn't help. Rocco called me up, and I basically told him what I told everybody else. I'm undecided. I have not heard a good argument on either side that made it conclusive for me. There are really good arguments both ways, okay? But as we're having this conversation, and as we're putting our brains together to figure out the best way to go, all of our efforts were rendered moot, because all nodes voted on the proposal and basically put the hammer down on the whole thing. See, all nodes is, I believe it has been since they've had a validator node, the top validator node for the chain. They have the most voting power, and they have a shitload of voting power. Somebody said 10%, somebody said 13%. I don't even know. But it's more than anybody else. And it was enough to be the deciding factor. Even though at that point there was 12 hours left to vote, once they came in with their vote, that was it. There really wasn't anything that was going to come in and change that. So we kind of knew. And they voted, they voted no. Voting no is a vote for keeping KYC. So the proposal was to get rid of KYC after we've already put in a proposal and passed KYC 6 months ago. This proposal was to change that. And all nodes said no. And let me take you real quick over to their actual statement. Just very simply, you can see their vote no, and the memo says, we are voting no as we believe that having KYC is important for L1 devs to protect the chain from potential bad actors in the future. A lot of people uh, didn't really like this at all. People who wanted to remove KYC. So, all right. So they say that, and this is the thing, is that every reason that's given, there's kind of a counter reason. So it makes it really, really tough. But again, they say this is to protect from potential bad actors. Well, one of the points that was brought up during the space was that KYC is an illusion as far as being a deterrent or being able to prevent bad actors, because there have been other chains, other projects where people were KYC'd and still screwed everybody, rugged or took off with the money or whatever it was. As a matter of fact, in a past video, I even told you guys about a developer that I know that before I knew him was involved with a team on another project, and he had access to team funds, not investor funds, but team funds, and he had some emergency that came up in his life. I guess he knew that if he had asked the rest of the team if he could have all that money, because he really needed it, they may say no. There might have been a time factor. I don't know. So bottom line, he just took the money. He took the money and took off. Now all these guys knew him. They all knew who he was. But this guy is an American. He's in the States. And I think the whole rest of the team pretty much are Europeans. So how easy was it to actually do anything about it? Well, you can go through the proper channels. That's going to be time consuming. But they knew who he was. He was doxed to them, and he still did it. So the point that KYC does not prevent this from happening is a valid point. However, I will argue the other side of it and say it could be effective as a deterrent. The reason I think that, it makes me think of, I do road work. I'm in construction. And we always should have, when we're doing work in the road, we always have a detailed police officer. If we're in the city, we have a city cop. If we're working on a highway or something, we have a state police officer there with us to direct traffic, or just basically to keep us safe, to keep traffic flowing through the work zone at a proper pace. Well, from time to time, particularly when we do state work, there may not be a state police officer available, or one that wants to actually take the detail. And so what they've done sometimes is they will take a police car, a state police car, with the sirens on, right, the lights on, and they'll park it at the front of the work zone. Nobody's in the car. There's nobody there. It's just a car with the lights on. It is a deterrent. Traffic, right? People going by, they don't know that nobody's in that car. They think that there's a policeman there. And so they go through the work zone slowly, carefully. It's a deterrent. It's enough to just kind of slow people down, right? Whereas if they didn't put that car there, we'd have to be watching out for people speeding through the work zone, because people are assholes and they do it, right? So in the same way, this could potentially be a deterrent, having KYC. No, it doesn't protect you. It doesn't say that it can't happen, but it probably makes it less likely to happen. Now, another argument against KYC is that KYC prevents certain people, right, who don't want to KYC and who may have certain talents and things to offer the chain. It prevents them from working on the chain. Well, I want to push against that one too. And I'm going to give you an analogy. If I want to go skydiving, tandem skydiving. I had the opportunity to do this one time when I was in Vegas before I got married. I chickened out. We all chickened out. None of us did it. But anyway, if I wanted to go skydiving, do this tandem thing where they actually link you up to a professional. They tie you up to them, and then you jump out of the plane with them, and they operate the parachute or whatever, and it's, I would suppose, exhilarating. If I wanted to do that, and they told me before I do that, I've got to take a course, and it could be potentially a long, extensive course, a safety course, that tells me what to do, what to expect, how not to screw up the professional guy, gives you all the information that you need to keep you and your tandem instructor, your professional, safe, right? It might be a long course. Maybe I don't want to take the course, right? I just want to go. I know what, I've seen YouTube videos. I'm going to keep my hands in. I'm not going to be afraid. I just want to go. But they say no, you cannot do that. Now, anybody can go skydiving. They're not telling me I can't go skydiving. They're telling me that I can go skydiving, but I got to do this safety thing first. If I decide to go skydiving, that's what I've got to do. It's up to me. The only thing preventing me from going skydiving, it's not the course, it's not the company, it's not the tandem instructor, it's me. It is my aversion to taking this course. You see the similarity, right? Nobody's saying that people cannot work on the chain. All they're saying is that before you do it, you have to follow this rule. You have to KYC, right? You have to take the course. If, as a developer, as a team, an individual, or whatever, you decide you don't want to KYC, and therefore you cannot work on the chain, it is not the fault of KYC. It is not the fault of governance. It's not the fault of anybody in the community or the validators or anybody. It is your fault. You are making the decision that you do not want to follow the rule, which would allow you to go ahead and work on the chain. So yes, everybody can work on the chain. You just got to do this one thing. Everybody can go skydiving. You just got to do this one thing. If I say I don't want to take that course and I can't go skydiving, that is 100% my choice, but it's nobody's fault but my own. And it's the same thing. Now, you can, if there's an argument to that, let me have it in the comment section, right? But I've been thinking about this all day, because I've really been going back and forth about this, and it doesn't matter that it's already decided by all nodes, because another proposal could come out next week, next month, whatever, to try to do this again, and we'll be right back in the same situation. So I don't know that this subject is over and done with, so I'm still considering it, and that's pretty much what I've come up with. Nobody is being prevented from working on the chain. They're preventing themselves. It was made easy as possible to KYC. That's all you got to do, is follow the rules. The funny thing is, I don't know if it's ironic, I don't know if that's the right word, but the funny thing is, I have gone back and forth with people for years on this chain about this decentralization thing. Not everyone, a lot of people are die-hard 100% decentralization. They're all about a community-run project. They're all about governance, POS, right? Point of stake. They're all about the validators. They're all about the delegators. They're all about all these things, except when it doesn't work in your favor. Then it's a problem. I'm mad at all nodes, right? The same people that are mad at all nodes for exercising their right on this chain that works exactly the way you say it wants to work, the same people that are mad at them are the same people who are proponents of this system that allows them to do that. So you cannot have it both ways, right? Happens very often that, again, you really like something. You really love DJ Trev. You love his honesty. You love how upfront he is. You love that he doesn't give a shit who you are. He will tell you the way it is or the way he sees it, regardless. You love that about him until he does it to you. Then all of a sudden, Trev's an ass. I'm unfollowing Trev, not giving Trev any more interviews or whatever, not giving him any information about our project. That's human nature. It's just kind of how people are. So, where does that bring me? Well, it brings me to a place that I have been at for a little while. Brings me back to something I've been talking about all week long, and that is this steering committee, or whatever you want to call it, advisory board, whatever, right? And I want to say this like this, and I kind of said this in the space, but I'll say it for your benefit as well. There are certain situations, certain arguments that people will always have and will never ever be settled. Okay, I've spent an awful lot of time on in religious boards, right? Be it on various social media platforms, and their discussion boards or their debate boards or whatever. Religion is one of those things where you either believe. Let's take Christianity, right? There's a million different religions, but let's go with Christianity. If you believe in Christianity, you believe in the Bible, you believe in Jesus, whatever, there is no logical argument that anybody's going to give you. Logical, right? No good argument that anybody's going to give you that's going to change your mind. And if you are an atheist and you believe there is absolutely no God, we're just here floating on this rock and that's just the way it is, no Christian is going to give you any argument about how do you think we got here, all the things that are said. No Christian's going to do that and change your mind. That is an argument that will go on for all eternity. And there will always be people on both sides who will never see each other's point of view. Abortion in the United States is another big thing like that, right? Where we have had this discussion since forever, right? There are people who say, abortion is wrong. They have their religious beliefs, or they believe that, you're taking away the rights of an unborn child, but it is a person. There are people on the other side that say, well, no, it's not a person yet, or it's a woman's body and she has the right to choose what is going on with her body. You will never, ever settle that. You'll never get the other side to come over and see your side. There will never be one perspective on things like that. Those are humongous things that we deal with in life, in the world. They're major, major things, right? So I don't mean to diminish them by comparing them to what we go through on this chain, but it's kind of the methodology, maybe I'll say, right? The similarity, because things like, should we have a transactional tax? Should we not have a transactional tax? Should we have KYC? Should we not have KYC? These are the kind of questions in this kind of micro world of cryptocurrency, and even smaller on Terra Classic. These are the kind of questions that we will never, ever settle. There will always be people on this side and people on that side making the arguments in their own perspectives. They might understand your perspective, but they're never going to come over to it. There will never be one mindset on KYC or on tax or on a number of other things. There just will never be. And this type of chain with governance and nobody at the helm at all, community run, 100% decentralized, it just nurtures that. It grows that. What do you ever think that you're going to get out of that other than what I'm describing to you? Perpetual disagreement. You can't get anything other than that, because we're humans and that's just the way it is, right? So you can't do this for religion. You can't do this for big things like abortion or any of the other isms that we have disagreements on in the world. You can't say everybody's going to think this way. That's something that they did in the Dark Ages when they said, there's a million different religions. Well, I'll tell you what, we're all going to be Christians. And if you're not going to be a Christian, we're going to hunt you down and kill you, right? We don't do that anymore. We can't do that in the real world. That would never work. But here in the world of crypto, in this type of chain, the only way we're ever going to move forward in one path and stop coming up with proposals that pass and then another proposal to get rid of that proposal because these people didn't like it. And, we tried the tax for 3 weeks now, and look what it did to the volume. It brought the volume down. So now we're going to give another proposal. We're going to get rid of the tax. And that's going to bring the volume back. Oh, okay. So we'll pass that one. Oh, we got rid of the tax. Where's the volume? Volume still never came back. Oh, maybe we should go back to some sort of tax. Maybe we'll make it bigger. Maybe we'll make it smaller, right? Goes back and forth. We have KYC. KYC is going to bring tons of people tons of projects to the chain. If we have KYC for our devs that are working on the chain, other people are going to want it. They're going to flock to Lunar Classics, come and work here. Well, we have it for 6 months. Nobody has come to build here because we have KYC. So why don't we just get rid of the KYC so anybody can work on the chain if they don't want a KYC? Goes back and forth, right? The only way that we stop all that is, one, we need to understand and acknowledge that we need one path. You can only take one path if you want to move forward. You can't keep doing this because we'll never if every time the path splits, we'll never reach the same destination, right? Only if we're all going down the same path together, strength in numbers, will we reach Valhalla or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? That's number one. Number two is we have to accept as adults, we're grown-ups. Stop acting like kids. We have to accept that some of us are not going to get our way. We have to accept that the way we think it should go is not the way other people maybe think it should go. And maybe we're right, maybe they're right, but none of us have a crystal ball. And so if we choose to go down one path, it's going to be the path that some people think is right, but it's not going to be the path that other people think is right, okay? Sacrifices have to be made if we want to move forward. It's just the way it is. If you don't think so, argue with me. Argue this with me. In the comment section on Twitter, I don't give a damn where, right? Tell me why what I'm saying is wrong. I think everybody knows at this point it is absolutely right. The only reason anybody argues with it is because they're still trying to take control. And they could potentially be on the outside of some decisions that are made, right? So if we can get to those 2 points, right, as adults, and say the main focus here should be the advancement of Lunk, of the chain. We want to get to a point where the money that has been invested is increasing, right? And people are actually making money. The chain is strong, and as the chain gets stronger and the price is going up and people are making money, you think maybe people will want to come and build on the chain then? Of course they will, right? We got to get to that point. How do we get to that point? Well, the fairest way that I've come up with that I can think of is that we have to use the governance, use the POS, decentralized, community-run thing that we have. We have to use that. But we have to use that to elect a group of individuals that are trusted, that are capable, that are experienced, hopefully. And then, once we do that, and again, this is where, remember number 2, some people might not get their way. That means whoever you voted for, or whoever you think should be on this committee, might not be on this committee. But you have to come in with the team and say whatever is decided, whoever is chosen for this via an election, right? Which means the majority of the community, or majority of the people that are voting, chose these people, and even if it's not who I chose, the majority chose them. So I got to go with it. I got to be on the team, right? You have to do that. So we have to choose these people, and then we have to have these people figure out the path. These people that we elect, that we trust, they've got to put together a roadmap. And they've got to put together their collective ideas on which way to go. Is KYC good? Is KYC bad? Do we keep KYC? Get rid of KYC. Do we have a tax? Do we not have a tax? Those kind of questions, plus a million other questions that come up when you're running a chain this big, right? They've got to give us a determination of what they collectively think is the best path of all the options that there are. This is what they think are the best options, right? And then we have to do our part. We being the community, the validators, the developers, everybody. We've got to do our part, and we've got to jump on board and say, this is what we've decided. We've decided to trust these guys. They're going to take us down one path. I may agree with it. I may not agree with the way we're going, but we're going to do it because it's going to keep us moving forward. And along the way, obviously, you make adjustments along the way, right? That's the way you do it. But you keep moving forward. And if we don't have that, we're going to continue to have what we have right now and what we saw today, where people are, raha, let's get rid of KYC, get rid of KYC. Oh, All Nodes just came in and said, no, we're not getting rid of it. Well, tough shit. Get your shit out of luck because they decided for you. Okay? We didn't really elect All Nodes to be the voice for the community, but they have so much power that they can be. I would hope that All Nodes and some of these other larger validators, if we as a community decided that we wanted to do what I'm suggesting, I would hope that they would get on board and say, listen, this is what the community wants. May agree with it, may not agree with it, but if this is what the community wants, then we'll give them what they want. And our part in it is this. If we have renegade validators who say, to hell with who you elected, to hell with what the community has decided via governance, we think it should go this way, and so we're going to vote this down, or we're going to vote this up, or we're going to take our own path. I would hope that the community at that point would say, okay, you're not following what we've all decided that we're going to do. You're not following the program. You've gone rogue. So we're going to take your voting power away. We're going to undelegate from you and delegate to validators who are on board with us moving forward. It's a simple plan. It really is a simple plan. We can do it. Do you want to do it? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. If you think that there's another way, it's been almost 3 years. Nobody's really thought of a way. We're doing the same things that we've been doing all along, spinning our wheels. So if you think that there's another way, let me know. Let's talk about it, right? But right now, nobody's offering anything else, and I've been thinking about this for an awful long time. And there are some other people that have said something like this as well, right? So I'm not really alone in this thought. I think together we could fine-tune this thing and make it really, really work and finally move forward. If you want to do that, join me, right? Let your voice be heard. Let everybody on Twitter know that that's what you want to do. Let them know in your Discord rooms. Talk about it. Let's have the conversation. Let's get it done, right? If you don't want to do it, all right, whatever. I'll shut up about it, but I'll be damned if I'm buying any lunk, because what will have changed? It's not going to go anywhere, just like it hasn't gone anywhere all this time, because you don't have this. All right, talk to y'all later. Ciao.